Hey natural beauties, it's Cherie. Welcome back to my channel. I am here with another video. Today we are going to be doing the second installment of my Understanding Your Hair series. This iteration of that series is about hair density, so I encourage you to go back. I will have the playlist in the description box and maybe up in the cards as well. We're just gonna jump right on into it. If you're curious to understand how hair density is important to hair care, the appearance of your hair, and hair growth, keep on watching. So what is hair density? So hair density refers to the number of strands of hair that are on your head. This determines how thick or how thin your hair actually appears. So just like there are levels of porosity for your hair, there are also different levels of density. And these are classified in the same way pretty much as low, medium or normal, and high. So let's break down the levels of density. Low density hair pretty much indicates that your hair strand count is a lot less than the average amount of individual strands on your head. And it also means being able to easily see your scalp. Therefore, it is affecting your ability to have thick and full hair. So on average, every person has approximately 2,200 strands of hair per square inch on their head. And if you're medium to normal density, it is possible to see very little amount of scalp, and that's done with the visual test, and we'll talk more about that in a second. When you have high density hair, it is very difficult, if darn near impossible, to see your scalp. And the number of strands of hair per square inch gives you the physical appearance of having very full hair. I mean, not just the appearance, that is what it is. And so how do we determine what hair density you have? There are density tests just like there are porosity tests. Surprise! And there are 3 methods that I'm going to tell you guys about. First one is strand counting. Now I addressed this briefly in my Understanding Your Hair 101 video, which was like an introduction to this series, and I'll have that linked. But strand counting is, as you can imagine, a very tedious process, but it is the idea that you can measure 1 square inch section of hair, and within that square inch section of hair you are counting the strands within, and then you extrapolate from there. So you would kind of take a measurement, I guess, of the entire scalp times that 1 inch section of strands by the number of inches that are on your entire head or scalp, and get an idea of how many hair strands. So how you determine if that is high or low is based on what the average is approximately about 2,200 strands of hair per square inch. So the site/scalp test is another way to kind of take a measurement of the density of your hair. And this is done by examining unparted loose hair to see how much scalp is actually visible. So what you would do ideally is maybe once your hair is dry or in a drying state, maybe after a wash day, you don't part it, but you just kind of let it fall how it naturally falls, and you just look dead on within a mirror, or maybe someone else can assist you with this if you're not able to see every part of your head by yourself. So you're going to look to see if the scalp is easily visible, and as you move your head from left to right, side to side, if that changes upon you moving your head. And on the other spectrum of this, if you cannot see the scalp at all and you move your hair, you shake it and turn around from side to side, you can't see any scalp, that is indicative of high density hair. I have, as you guys could see in, I think it was my second toddler care styling video, my youngest daughter actually, and this may change because she's still fairly young, but I feel like she's at the age where the hair that she has is the hair that she's going to keep. She has low to medium density hair. You can wash her hair completely saturated and it almost looks like she is bald in some spots. But after a few days, because I usually do wash and go because there's not too much that I need to do with her hair. Her hair is very loose texture, very different from mine and her sister's. But after a few days, the volume increases and it has the appearance of thick hair. We're going to talk about the appearance and how you can manipulate that later. But in actuality, her hair is not super dense and her strands are very fine. One other test that we have is the ponytail test. So the ponytail test is when you put your hair into a ponytail and you measure the circumference of that ponytail. If that section is less than 2 inches in width, it's thought to be low density hair. Medium density hair will measure between 2 to 3 inches, and high density hair will be at least 4 inches thick. So that is another way that you can determine the density of your hair. Why does this matter? There are 3 main reasons that I feel this is important for you to take into account. For number 1, it affects the appearance of how your hair looks. This determines the types of styles that you want to choose that will complement your hair and in turn your face, your countenance and everything. Maintenance is another important factor that hair density impacts. So your hair density will affect the types of products that you want to purchase to use for maintenance and basic styling of your hair. This also affects the health of your hair. Yes, sis, understanding your density or different types of density affects the health of your hair because proper product choice definitely can affect your length retention. Proper product choice can affect your length retention, and your manipulation techniques should cater to your density type to avoid over manipulation, which can lead to breakage. Knowing your hair density will help you make better choices with products and also help you make better choices with how you manipulate your hair. We all know that over manipulation can affect length retention, cut your length retention in half, and you also want to just avoid those things that can lead to further breakage. If the products you use are not helping you to detangle your hair properly because maybe they're meant for people with thinner density hair, maybe you need something thicker, which will help you run the comb through your hair easier when you're trying to detangle, when you're trying to style, when you're manipulating your strands. Now let's get into the good stuff here. How do we make your hair density work for you? So we've been given what we've been given, we've accepted it. What can we do to make that style that we love work for us, or that product that hasn't been working for our hair? What do we buy to help us tame our hair, control frizz, make it look more voluminous, or take some of the volume out of your hair? What will work for you? All that depends on knowing your hair density. And this is why I titled this Understanding Your Hair Density, because it's not just about knowing, it's about understanding how it works and what you can do to make it work for you. When you have low to medium density hair, I recommend the following tips. When you style, you want to style with lighter products and oils that don't weigh your hair down. For example, lighter sprays or leave-in conditioners, styling custards over heavier styling puddings. For oils, you want to use something like jojoba oil, almond oil, hemp seed oil. These are things that will work with you when you don't have super thick hair. For styling and actually manipulating your hair into a style you want to last for a while, you want it to appear full, you want to style for volume or more coverage of your scalp. And so a few tips to help you with that are to try separating your curls and fluffing and combing the roots. As far as shaping and cutting of the hair, you could opt for a more blunt cup that gives more of a fullness. And then when you section your twist or your braids for twist outs and braid outs, you want to make those sections a lot smaller. So you may have, maybe 15 to 20 braids on your hair versus me, where I only style my hair with twist outs and braid outs in like about 7 or 8 braids or twists. So if you have high density hair, I have the following suggestions for you. You want to style with heavier creams or oils, opting for creamy leave-in conditioners. Different influencers and natural sisters will say, hey, like I can't do the spray leave-in. I don't feel like anything is happening. And that is because you have over 2,200 strands per square inch that you're trying to lubricate. If you don't put water on your hair, it's gonna make it worse, but we could save that for another video. But you're trying to lubricate over 2,200 strands per square inch. And this little spray bottle is not doing it. I understand, sis. This is why we opt for creamy leave-in conditioner. Been following me over the past few weeks. I picked up the Mael Organics Pomegranate Honey leave-in, and it does the job for me. And so that may be something you want to check out. That's just one suggestion. You don't have to go by my suggestion. Try something that works for you. But if you have very dense hair, make sure that it's creamy and see how you like that. It might change your life. Also, thick stylers, gel-like puddings, and smoothie type stylers. So typically, and I can't say this 100% for all, I have not been experimenting with all the new products enough lately to confirm this, but typically the stylers that have pudding in their title, smoothie in their title. I know I've been able to use puddings and get enough product on my hair that feels like it weighs it down enough to smooth it out so that I can get that nice, beautiful, defined twist out or braid out that I'm looking for. Also, with using products for high density hair, for oils you want to try jojoba oil, and I believe jojoba oil kind of goes across the board. It's very nourishing and does well with locking in that moisture that you're trying to lock into your hair. Olive oil is the same. In castor oil, I really like to switch to castor oil in the winter months when I know the weather is going to be dry and a little bit more harsh, and I slap that on and my hair loves it. And that's because I have so many strands, so as thick as it is and as like slow as it is, it works for me. When you have high density hair, you kind of want to and I know some people may not agree with this, but for me, sometimes I want to kind of reduce the volume that I have, or maybe maintain it, but I don't want it to get bigger. I think there's that saying that goes, you want what you can't have and you can't have what you want. So how do you style your hair to reduce the amount of volume you have, or at least maintain the level that it's at? Avoid volumizing sprays and conditioners. If you have high density hair and your desire is not to increase that appearance of high density hair, do not use sprays or conditioners or mousses that say that they are volumizing. That's number one. Wear your hair cut or shaped in long layers. And so I always fight back and forth with myself about, okay, what do I want? Do I want long layers, or do I want to have this big bushy fro? And some days I love it, and some days I'm like, I'm growing my hair back and I'm never going back to that ever again. Because the only thing you can see is this round circular shape that I have. So if you want to reduce volume, keep your hair in long layers. So when you do your twist outs and your braid outs, you'll want to create larger sections of hair. And that's why when you see me in videos styling my hair, whatever style I do, even when I do roller sets, you guys, I'm at 10 braids max. Just because you have high density hair doesn't mean you have to make all these high density amount of twists. No, you don't have to do that. You can still get extremely defined curls, 8 or 10 braids or twist on your head. It's all about the products you use, your process in taking it out. I don't care to sit there and define each and every single curl and shingle at the bottom. That's not something that I ever did. It's cute and it's interesting. I see people do it and I'm like, wow, you have a lot of time on your hands. But I've just never had the desire because I know my hair is going to grow as the days go by and it's not going to matter in the long run. Another final tip that you could do if you have high density hair and you're just trying to kind of maintain the level that you don't want to get too much volume is to opt to skip out on the teasing of the hair, fluffing it out with the comb, raking through it to make it bigger. Because as the days go on, like I said, usually it will tend to get bigger on its own. And finally, with everything else, there's always exceptions to the rule. So there are things to consider based on your hair type. There can be variances in the strand width. So maybe you have super dense hair, over 2200 strands per section, but your hair is very fine, and fine hair is something that we will get into in the next video. If you have issues with your hair, some health concerns, if you are having abnormalities with your hair because of a health issue, or you're experiencing alopecia for some reason or another that's not normal, that could affect how dense your hair is. It could affect how thick it looks. These are things to definitely consider. Everybody's hair is not created equal, and what you do may work for you and may not work for someone else, just like what I do may not work for you. And if you have questions about any of this, you guys, please feel free to reach out. I am here to assist and not just speak to you and share my knowledge, but if you have questions and concerns and just want, a little sister advice or tip, I'm here for you. That is all I have for you today. I appreciate you so much for watching. Like I said, please stay tuned for the next segment in this series, which is going to be understanding your hair strands. Yes, I think that's what I'm calling it. Understanding strand width. Just look out for that. I will let you know when that video is about to drop. And thank you for tuning in. If you found this information helpful, please feel free to share it with a friend, family member, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you next time. Until then, live out loud, own your truth, and let your light shine. Thank you for watching.